Cutting an onion can be done in multiple methods, and each method has its own purpose. In this video, we're going to be cutting an onion 3 different ways. The first method that we're going to be doing is rings. The second one is going to be a julienne, and the third one is going to be a fine dice. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Gabriel Carrillo, and if you'd like to learn more EdTech tips and food recipes, then make sure that you click on that subscribe button to get notified when new videos like this are published. But for now, let's cut some onions. All 3 of these methods require 2 basic things: cutting board and a sharp knife. The first cut we're going to be doing is rings. So let's go ahead and take our onion, just a basic onion here, and there's a couple pieces of the onion that you need to know: tip and the root. The tip is what sticks up out of the ground and grows up out of the ground, and the root is basically the part that's underground. So the first thing we're going to be doing for these rings is we're going to cut the tip off completely, as well as the root, but don't cut too much off so that you're still left with a good chunk of onion. And now what we're going to do is go ahead and peel it so that we're left with a nice smooth onion. And then from here, we're going to cut completely vertically up and down into rings. You can make them as thick or as thin as you want. And the nice thing about these rings is you can make onion rings with them. I like to marinate meat like chicken or maybe some steaks or pork using these rings. And then from here, what you do is you basically just put your fingers through, and now you have rings that are intact and you could use for things like marinades, onion rings, or anything where you want a nice big bite, especially like maybe a burger and you want to put some onions in there. You have some rings right here ready to go. The second cut we're going to be doing is a julienne. This is perfect for things like stir fries, or one of my favorite things to do is caramelize onions like this, break them down, get their sugars out. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the tip and the root off completely. Let's go ahead and do that. And then go ahead and peel this. Once we have the onion ready to go, we're going to cut down in half from tip to root. That we're working with half an onion at a time. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and do diagonal slanted cuts nice and thin until I get about halfway, and then I'll flip it over. So we're going to do something like this. And you'll notice that once I get to about halfway, we flip it over and continue that process all over again till we are left with a nice set of ribbons or julienne, which then we can saute, we can throw in a frying pan, we can throw on some burgers, we can stir fry, or we can caramelize for whatever we need later. And the last cut that we're going to be doing is a nice fine diced onion. And this works really well for stews. Maybe you want to saute something and you want that onion flavor throughout the dish, but you don't want big, large chunks of onion. This is the cut that you'll want to do, which is a fine dice. First things first, let's go ahead and cut from root to tip all the way through. And then we're going to take the tip of the onion off, leaving the root intact. You want to make sure that you leave the root, or else you are going to find yourself with an onion that's falling apart while you're trying to cut it. After that, let's go ahead and peel it. And for this cut, what we're going to do is we're going to make 3 different cuts in 3 different directions. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut not all the way back to the root, but as far back as I can, going in long strokes like this. And the closer you make them, the finer your dice is going to be. Make sure to get my hand out of the way here. Now that I have those long stroke cuts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife this way and I'm going to cut long way, and once again, not get to the root. And you'll notice that because I left the root intact, the onion is still intact. And the last step that we're gonna do in this is we're gonna make up and down chops. That way we get some nice fine diced onions. I like putting these in the bases of soups or stews or caldos, or whenever we make tacos at home or enchiladas, I like a nice fine diced bite of a white onion on my tacos. And that's a pretty finely diced onion there. And then what I like to do with this last piece is just kind of chop it all the way around. That way I get the best out of my onion here. And what you want to do with your leftover onions here is you want to make sure that you put them in a clear saran wrap and make sure that they are airtight. That way you could throw those in the fridge, keep them for later, maybe make an omelet, throw them up in some potatoes, do whatever you want, but make sure that they are sealed tight. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We got the nice diced white onion here. We've got the julienne that we've done in these beautiful little ribbons. I'm probably going to be sauteing those in some olive oil and then caramelizing them. And then you got your rings here, which we can use for onion rings, or maybe to throw on top of a burger or on some marinade on some meat. But there it is, onions 3 different ways. If you liked and enjoyed this video, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Make sure you share this video with a friend or somebody else who can also benefit. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, buen provecho.